Ignition sequence start. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Liftoff. We have a liftoff.
Hey everybody, this is the Digital Asset Investor, and we have yet another commentary on how the IPO market is about to crank up, along with cryptos booming this morning. Private equity-backed U.S. IPOs set to surge in market revival. Private equity-backed initial public offerings on U.S. exchanges are poised for a comeback. Reminder, my sponsor, link to linqto.com for accredited investors. They got Ripple private equity, last time I checked, AI, fintech, you name it, they've got it. They've got all kinds of different issues on there, and a lot of these companies, I believe, will be going public. Now, check this out. You can also download the Link2 app, by the way. Check this out. The cryptocurrencies are doing their thing this morning. We had a little pullback over the last few days, and now XRP is right back on up, heading back up. And we'll do a lot on the pricing, and Bitcoin's headed up too. Let me make a prediction. My Thanksgiving prediction is 100K Bitcoin over Thanksgiving. What would create more excitement going forward in the market than for that to happen while everybody's families are sitting there? And I hope they bring up, and you should all bring up to your families at the Thanksgiving table, listen, they are planning to eliminate capital gains taxes on crypto. Do you know what's going to happen to the crypto markets when that happens? Unbelievable. It will be crazy. Now, same thing, I need to remind you, XRP Las Vegas is the same week of Bitcoin Las Vegas. They're going to have Bitcoin Las Vegas, and then we're going to roll it into XRP Las Vegas. And this is going to be the biggest year. This will shatter the records. You know, XRP Las Vegas is the largest XRP conference in the world. This year, it's going to bust its own records. In fact, they released tickets yesterday, and I already talked to Brad Combs. He said you wouldn't even believe it. And the freaking it's like going crazy. And everybody wants that early bird discount before the price increase. I don't know when that is, but go check it out. It's xrplasvegas.com. There's also a link to it in my description. Check this out. Brad Garlinghouse was spotted. He's a Kansas, he graduated from Kansas, and so he's a Jayhawk fan. Kansas is ranked #1, but I wanted to bring to Brad Garlinghouse's attention that my Auburn Tigers, who are normally not this good, are ranked #4 right now and have not lost. And so I said, you know, we love you, Brad, but my Auburn Tigers are actually worth a damn this year. They get a shot at Kansas. I'd love to have a friendly wager with XRP, of course. We shall see. Look at this Grayscale crypto snapshot, our weekly snapshot of the top 10 crypto assets by 1 week returns. Well, looky here. XRP with a 23.5%. Bitcoin's way down here and Ethereum's way down here. I wonder why CNBC didn't spend the week talking about XRP instead of Bitcoin. You know why. Now, folks, not to put any kind of negative on what we're talking about, but everyone needs to hear this 41 seconds so you understand just how evil, the evil that this country avoided.
The AI thing was very alarming. We had meetings this spring that were the most alarming meetings I've ever been in, where they were taking us through their plans, and it was
what kind of? Can you talk about it?
Basically, just full government control, like this sort of thing. There will be a small number of large companies that will be completely regulated and controlled by the government. They told us. They just said don't even start startups. Like, don't even bother. Like, there's just no way. There's no way that they can succeed. There's no way that we're going to permit that to happen.
Wow.
Yeah, they said this is already over.
That's the kind of evil that they were attempting.
It's going to be 2 or 3 companies, and we're going to control them, and that's that. Like, this is already finished.
Oh my God! Yeah. Now, when you leave a meeting like that, what do?
You go endorse Donald Trump.
People have no idea how evil. Then he did this tweet: the entire country feel like it's being powered back up. Do you feel it? communism is being powered down, is another way of saying that. Cowboy Crypto, remember the clip also right here? Elon Musk said, did you know that 30 tech founders were secretly debanked? Because he mentioned it in that clip. Remember when Brad Garlinghouse, he said no wonder Brad Garlinghouse was debanked from the banking cartel Citibank. Ripple is competing with the liquidity of Citi. If banking cartel will debank billionaires like Brad Garlinghouse and others, they will debank anyone. And I just told the story in DAIXRP.com about how I was debanked in the middle of that too, with a bank I'd been with for 15 plus years. Look at this from Bitwise. For our European investors today, we're excited to introduce the Bitwise Physical XRP ETP GXRP with over 80 million in assets under management. GXRP is trading on Germany's Deutsche Börse Cetra and provides institutional grade access to XRP. We're also proud to share that Ripple is an investor in the new rebranded fund. Release below for more information. Then we've got this new. Governments of the US, China, and UK collectively hold 463,109 Bitcoin, worth $43.2 billion, representing 2.34% of Bitcoin's current supply. So when they're talking about this Bitcoin strategic reserve, make no mistake, that's just the entry point. This thing will be a basket of strategic reserves of at least 5 to 10 of the major infrastructure plays. You watch, and XRP will be one of them. Here's Kathy Wood on her the Bitcoin marketing machine is trotting out these guys. They're trying to give it the final push over 100,000. I'm all for it.
We have a 2030 target. In our base case, it's around $650,000. In our bull case, it's between $1 and $1.5 million. Now, remember, we were the first public asset manager to gain exposure to Bitcoin in 2015 at $250. And we still, at 90,000, I think we have a long way to go. Why? Well, first of all, we're getting regulatory relief here. And I think that's one of the most important things coming out of this administration. We will get regulatory relief on all kinds of innovation, including healthcare. So the other thing is we're looking at Bitcoin now being viewed as a new asset class. It's not just a global monetary system. It's a new asset class. And what that means is institutions and asset allocators generally are saying, wait a minute, this asset is behaving differently from all of our other assets. We need to include. So I think that's the next big move. And if you look at years where the Bitcoin has halved and the inflation rate has gone down to 0.9, it's usually had a nice.
All right, and then here's our old buddy Mike Novogratz of ETHgate fame. He's betting dimes to donuts on his prediction, I guess.
I want to get back to crypto here, and I want to talk about the possibility of a Bitcoin strategic reserve. You think about this rally that we're seeing in Bitcoin, which is one of the purest supply and demand markets. And one of the reasons I keep hearing is that there's a lot of optimism that we could see the United States government buy up to $1 million worth of Bitcoin. Now that you do have all these crypto advocates in Congress, are you confident that we could see something like that?
I still think it's a low probability, right? You know how Congress works. The House gets excited or the executive gets excited and the Senate says, calm down, right? That's the role of the Senate. And while the Republicans control the Senate, they don't have 60 seats. They don't have close to 60. And so, listen, I think it would be very smart for the United States to take the Bitcoin they have and maybe add some to it and say, we want to show the world that we're going to be a technology first country, a crypto digital asset first country. I don't necessarily think the dollar needs anything to back it up. We have the strongest military in the world. We have the dominant economy in the world and the reserve currency we've earned. And to need to back up the reserve currency is counterintuitive. And so, again, listen, if we get the Bitcoin reserve, and as a guy that owns a lot of Bitcoin, I will not cry. And if you see me crying, there'll be crocodile tears. I think Bitcoin heads to 500,000. again, it's a whole different paradigm because it forces every other country in. Countries are already buying it. I've got a dear friend, the guy that actually turned me on to Bitcoin in 2013, who's in the Mideast right now, and he said he's never.
Okay, I can't remember. That may be a rehashed thing. I can't remember if I've seen that before.
Bitcoin will keep to the
This is the Van Eck CEO.
halvening cycle. So we're looking at sort of 150 to 180 this cycle as a price target. And then the next cycle, it reaches my target of half the value of gold, so 400,000 plus, depending on the price of gold. Bitcoin will.
All right. So let's see what else we got. Okay. This is Mara CEO. Listen to what this guy says.
I think what we're going to see is essentially institutions just waiting to buy up Bitcoin. You look at MicroStrategy, their $3 billion bond, they're out there buying Bitcoin very aggressively. We raised $1 billion bond at 0% coupon same week as Michael Saylor did, and we went out and acquired hundreds of millions of dollars of Bitcoin. So lots of people are starting to do this now. And so anybody who's selling is selling into a market where there's ample demand. And I think that for the foreseeable future, we'll continue to see Bitcoin price move up, up and down, but generally the trend will be upwards.
I agree with that. And then finally, here's Chris Brummer from DC FinTech Week. I saw him when I was up there at DC FinTech Week. Didn't get to meet him because he was in charge and he was busy.
Chris, I do want to start with this idea of a crypto czar in the White House. How do you look at a role like this and the relationship that this person would have with the SEC, with the crypto industry, but also making sure that, hey, this is an industry where I think a lot of critics would say consumers still need to be protected?
Yeah, I think that when you talk about things like clarity and the desire to bring clarity, you have to really define what that means here in Washington. On the one hand, it means what are the substantive rules, and that's where you have things like a crypto czar to ideally help coordinate across the government. But it also means, how do you comply with those rules? And I think that what you're going to see, both coming from the SEC or coming from a crypto czar, and certainly even coordination from the Treasury Department, is this question of how do we make rules that are fit for purpose, and then how exactly are those companies going to ultimately comply with those rules for the ongoing future?
So speaking of rules of the future, it's not like in the last Trump administration there were no rules, right? I mean, you actually had some fairly critical approaches to some parts of the crypto industry. And when you look at the way crypto has been behaving, yes, there's Bitcoin on one hand, but then there's all of this optimism on, for example, this idea that altcoins will be almost en masse being approved to be rolled up into ETF wrappers. Do you think that this exuberance is maybe going a little too far, given what we've seen in the past?
As I said, I think people get a little bit confused about what clarity means. I think that you heard this from the Coinbase comments earlier, is that what the industry has this far advocated is clear rules of the road. I mean, certainly the SEC didn't engender a lot of friends by pursuing enforcement actions where there wasn't a lot of clarity as to how to make fit for purpose rules. But there are rules, and those rules will be in place. Generally, we tend to think about things like AML and KYC issues that will certainly continue to predominate the national conversation. But
nobody ever had a problem with those. Now, in DAIXRP.com, I'm going to talk about something I can't talk about out here, which is the whole purpose, the reason I created the group. I couldn't talk about it out here if I wanted to, but I am going to talk about it in there. And then we're going to talk further about XRP price and what I see, what other people see, where we're headed. I'm the digital asset investor. I'm not an investment advisor. This is for entertainment purposes only. Please subscribe, hit the like button, tell your friends and family. Away we go.